Aubrey, we're talking about birthdays today.
We are, and yesterday was my birthday, so it's so
Woohoo!
fitting. Happy birthday to me.
I personally like to celebrate a birthday month, which might come up in an answer today. Who knows?
Right.
Because we are doing sample part one and part two answers today about birthdays. Do you think this is useful for our listeners?
Extremely useful. I see this a lot on IELTS exams, talking about birthdays from your youth or the most recent birthday party you attended, and even on part three, celebrations in your
Totally.
culture. So this is very useful. You need to be prepared for these questions on test day.
For sure, for sure. And as you guys probably know, I was an IELTS examiner for 14 years, and I can tell you that yes, birthdays and celebrations are a very common topic on IELTS
Yeah.
speaking. So today's sample answers are super useful, and I can't wait to hear what Aubrey has to say about her birthday yesterday. So let's get to it. All right. So I'm going to ask Aubrey part one questions. And then in the second half of today's show, I'm going to answer a part two question. All right.
Yes.
Aubrey.
And keep in mind, guys, this is part 4 of a series over on All Ears English and Business
Yes.
English. Lindsay and Michelle have been talking about birthdays and star signs. And if you missed those episodes, you for sure need to follow because great vocab that you could also use on IELTS.
Yes, exactly. Guys, oh my gosh. If you're not listening to All Ears English and Business English, you are missing out on
Yes.
invaluable English that will help your IELTS score, guys. So, just in this birthday series, I love that we're tying together all three shows now. But
Yes.
All Ears English had an episode called Birthdays in English Part One. When is your birthday? And then there was a Business English episode, right?
Part 2 was on the Business English podcast, episode 277. Birthdays in English, part 2, doing anything special. I love that question. Such
Me
good
too.
vocab.
So great. And then All Ears English again, 2231, Birthdays in English Part 3. What is your star sign? Um, this vocabulary, guys, that episode will be so useful. It'll give you so many specific things you can say about birthdays and personality, right? Star signs, zodiac. I'm a Capricorn. Knowing how to describe my personality in English will help me on IELTS.
Absolutely. And we're not necessarily going to use that vocab in our sample answers. So be sure to go back, listen to those episodes, and follow both All Ears English and the Business English podcast.
And IELTS Energy, of course.
And of
I
course,
mean,
IELTS Energy if you're not.
hit follow here. Okay, guys, let's get to these speaking part one questions. All right. What do you usually do on your birthday?
What don't I do is the question, and the answer is cook or clean or take care of anyone. I go out to eat and I take people with me. Love celebrating, but I don't want to have to cook or clean. So I went to breakfast with my daughter, lunch with a different daughter, and dinner with my husband. And then we played games and ate cake that I had purchased because
Thank
I'm not
you.
making a cake.
Thank you. What did you do on your birthday when you were younger?
Oh, I don't remember my childhood that well, but I do remember having friends over for some little games that my mom would throw a party. So definitely friends involved. They would bring little presents that I was excited to open. It's funny, I feel like most of my memories are from pictures I've seen. Like I remember seeing that picture. So is there a memory? Maybe.
Do you think it is important for you to celebrate your birthday?
Absolutely. I do not understand how people don't celebrate a birthday. I think we need to take any opportunity to make something momentous. And I think it's so fun to celebrate a birthday. I don't mind that I'm getting older. I'm not going around telling everyone my age, but I want to take every reason to celebrate.
Why do some people not celebrate their birthdays?
That is a very good question. I think maybe we don't want the reminder about growing older. So I get that, I suppose, but I think they're really missing out if they're not taking the opportunity to be excited, to mark the passing of another year, think about all of the amazing things they've done in that year. So I don't understand. I would try to talk anyone out of it who doesn't celebrate their birthday.
I agree. Oh my gosh. We need
Kinda good.
every
Yeah, no.
excuse to celebrate. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. I want to point out some phrases that you guys should practice using in your own answers. Okay. And then remember, I am going to answer a speaking part two question about birthdays. All right. So the way Aubrey introduced her first couple answers there was amazing. First, the first question, what do you usually do on your birthday? And you're like, what don't I do? So anytime it's like the answer is like, I do a lot of things, or, I'm very busy or whatever, anytime the answer is like a lot of things, you could use this, right? So instead of saying, I do so many things on my birthday. Aubrey was like, "What don't I do?" is the better question. And then I asked, "What did you do on your birthday when you were younger?" And you said, "I don't remember my childhood that well." And this could be a great filler phrase, guys, because there are always part one questions about your childhood. And honestly, I'm the same. Like, uh, some people remember everything when they were kids. I do not, Aubrey. I'm the
No.
same as
Me
you.
neither.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that is a great filler. I don't remember my childhood. And then you can say all that well. So that's a very
Mm.
natural thing to say. You used the adjective momentous. That's a great adjective for very important. And then this last phrase I'm going to mention, mark the passing of another year. So
Mm.
anytime you're referencing a birthday or an anniversary of anything, right? Use this phrase to mark the passing of another year. So good.
Yes, and you guys might have noticed that I sort of started to stumble over momentous. I started saying monumental and then
Mm.
realized, wait, that's not the word I'm looking for. Corrected myself and said momentous. This will not lower your score. If you notice that you're saying a word incorrectly, fix it and just say the right word. Natives do this as well.
Yeah,
Don't let it stress you out. Don't let it throw you off. Just stop and say the right word.
exactly, exactly.
All right, Jessica, are you ready for your part two question?
I am. And you know what, guys? I didn't even take notes. I didn't
No?
even plan this. This is just a full-on spontaneous off the dome answer. But yes,
No.
I'm ready.
All right. Normally, you guys will have a minute to think about what you want to say, take notes. We didn't give that to Jessica, so we'll
Nope.
see how she does. I'm going to set the timer. Don't forget, guys, you are told you have 1 to 2 minutes for this answer, but you must speak the entire 2 minutes to show your fluency.
Yes.
All right. Describe a birthday celebration from your childhood.
I first of all, let me say that I love birthdays so much. I love any excuse to celebrate. In fact, I take a birthday month for myself and for my son, actually, where we'll do special stuff the entire month of one's birthday. Because again, any excuse to do fun things, to celebrate life in any way, I think we should take it. And I honestly got this from my mom when I was growing up. Um, I got two birthday celebrations a year because my birthday is in January. And where I grew up, it was super snowy in the winter, and we couldn't really do a lot of stuff outside that was fun on my birthday, right? So my mom would do a half birthday party for me every year. So in the summer, I could invite friends over and we could like play in the backyard and sleep outside and stuff like that. But if I try to recall birthday celebrations from when I was really little, I honestly remember going to McDonald's a lot, which was a really common thing when I was little. McDonald's birthdays were so much fun. First of all, I mean, every kid loves McDonald's, right? It's delicious. I wish I could still eat it, but at least I did when I was little on my birthday. So McDonald's would just give you this mess of food for everybody, just tons of cheeseburgers and fries. And then, of course, you have that amazing McDonald's soft serve, which is just unique for some reason. I don't know why it's so good there. But then there's also like a whole playground, and they give you like little toys. And I don't remember if you get a crown. I feel like maybe that was Burger King, but I do remember having like a birthday hat from McDonald's for some reason. Um, but we also, when I was like a middle schooler, I would have slumber parties for my birthday. And I remember I remember watching Dirty Dancing with my friends and trying to do all of the dances that Baby did in the movie. And we would like
Thank you. Does your son still have slumber parties now?
Yes, but he's a boy, so they're called sleepovers. And I wish I could do a whole part two answer about that
Right,
because
I'm sure.
We every year, we invite 5 of his friends over for his birthday sleepover, and we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, and so I have seen these 6 boys go from, like, little kids to
Oh.
full-on huge people. They're all taller than me right now.
Oh, so funny. I love this. Okay, there's so much to highlight here. That question I asked after Jessica's answer, you're going to get a little follow-up question at the end of your part 2. Just be ready for that. Just answer it very briefly. It's more of a transition into part 3, but be ready for that. Anyone who hasn't taken the IELTS exam might be thrown off by that.
Yeah.
So, good vocab here. First of all, intonation. Your pronunciation score, the intonation you use has a lot to do with how well you score on this, right? And if
Yeah.
it's a monotone, it's going to be a low score. This answer that Jessica gave was such a good example of band 9 intonation when she says the entire month, super snowy. She's hitting those adjectives and slowing down to give them the space. Really little, delicious, right? So notice how her voice is fluctuating, going up and down. Go back and listen if you didn't pick that up. And then also just a great vocab, half birthday parties. This is like every 6 months, the halfway mark. So this kind of vocab, you might not have thought about it in English. And if you go to talk about it on IELTS, you might find yourself saying, what is that called when halfway through, like at 6 months, we celebrate a birthday? So that's called your half birthday. And people do celebrate it. You should. So
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
And then I loved the vocab, a mess of food. She's talking about everything that's brought out at McDonald's is just a bunch of food. If there's a party where they have a lot of food, you could always, it's not negative. It sounds like with mess that it would be this like negative implication. It's not.
Right.
It just means a lot of food, a mess
Yeah.
of food.
That that
So
is
good.
some native slang right there, a mess
Yes.
of something. It just means a lot. It's not messy, no. If it's a
Yeah.
noun, a mess of something means there's a lot of something. That's awesome.
Yes. That might actually come from the military. I think they say like
Mess
mess
hall.
or something. Mess hall is like where they go to eat, right?
Yeah! Oh, maybe that
Interesting.
is where it's from.
That
That's
could
cool.
be. I learned
Alright,
something.
guys. So the takeaway today is that you need to practice answering these questions in English. There's a lot of stuff that you might be comfortable saying in your first language, and maybe you've never talked about this in English. So definitely, guys, come back to our YouTube channel, IELTS Energy TV, and leave some comments on this episode and share your answers with us. How would you answer today's questions about your birthday?
Yes, and be sure to follow all 3 of our podcasts. If you search All Ears English, you're going to see the 3 bright yellow squares. Hit follow on all 3. You'll learn so much great vocabulary, not just for IELTS, but also for your life after IELTS.
Exactly, exactly. All right, wonderful. Thanks for sharing your birthday information with us, Aubrey.
Yeah, you too. Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.